Hello everyone and welcome to this short balancing practice. So today we're going to focus on balancing our weight on one side of our foot, one side of our body. So let's take a second. Find a place to balance across both your feet. Maybe you want to have your hands down by your sides. Maybe you want to engage your butt muscles, engage your core. Standing nice and tall, breathing. We could raise our arms up towards the sky. We could bring them over to one side and then bring them back to center and then bring them over to the other side. Coming back, lowering them down, maybe doing a few arm circles. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Yeah, a couple of these. You can breathe any way you like, through your nose, through your mouth, through both. And exploring how it feels different ways. I'm getting over a little bit of cold, so breathing through my nose is challenging. So just do what feels right for you today. Maybe you want to shake out those arms. We could do some calf raises, coming up under your toes, lifting up your heel, alternating. We could do this beside a wall. You could also do two at a time if we want to explore that. Coming up, leaning into those toes. Again, you can use a wall for support or not, you choose. You could lift up your arms while you do this. I find that a little bit more challenging for myself because it means I stay on my toes longer than I typically would. So maybe you explore that and you're like, oh, that's great. Or maybe you think, ooh, I don't like that. And if so, don't do it. After a few, you can shake them out. And we'll come to practice balancing our weight into either foot. So we'll start by coming into a wider stance, balancing our weight across both feet, engaging our butt muscles, engaging our core, hands down by our sides, standing tall. Taking one breath, and then let's think about bringing most of our weight into our left foot. So we're thinking about not taking the other foot off the ground, just bringing our weight into that one side and noticing how that feels in that leg, the leg that's supporting most of your weight. And then we'll come back, we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Bring that weight into that leg, seeing what that feels like, and then coming back to center. Do that one more time, shifting. Just exploring the sensations in the legs. Does it feel the same on both sides? And then you can shake it out and we'll come to practice tree pose. So there's lots of options for tree. One thing I recommend is having something near you to grab if you need to hold on to it. The other thing is once you come into tree, maybe not look at the video. Don't look at me because I'm going to be moving. I'm not going to be perfectly still and that might throw off your balance a little bit. So you could pick like a specific spot on the wall, something to focus on that isn't moving. So to come into it, we're going to pick our left side and then we're going to do that weight shift where we shift our weight into the left foot. Then we have the option of doing that heel raise, coming up onto our toes with the opposite leg. So with my right leg, I'm up on my toes. Maybe you want to do that a couple of times. And then we have the option of here my knees facing forward, facing out towards the side. Now it's facing out towards the side. So we can do that a couple of times, getting used to that hip opening motion, opening up the knee. And then we have the option of once it's out, bringing that heel towards the opposite leg. And now the sole of that foot is against this standing leg. So this is tree pose. We have the legs set up for our tree pose. That's one version. Another version, if you have blocks and you want to explore bringing your leg a little bit higher, you can again bring the weight into that opposite leg. You can put your toes up onto a block and your heel is touching that standing leg. There we go. Our knee is bent a little bit further. Our foot is raised a little bit higher. And we're standing strong here in the legs. And then we can choose where we want our hands. There's a third option without the block at all, where we can lean into that leg lifting up our foot onto the side of our calf. Now this might take a little more balance. We could hold onto a wall if you're close to one. So coming onto a wall, and again, this might be where you don't want to look at me because that might not help with your balance. If you have the mobility, you could also bring that foot up into that inner thigh. It is not within my practice, so I don't do that, but if that's something that you want to explore, you can definitely do that. You could also raise your hands up towards the sky. You could have them at heart center. You could have them on your hips. It could be a windy day in the forest and your tree is moving. This is when I tend to fall over. So just explore different options. If you come out of it, don't worry. You can always come back in or not, like your choice of how you want to explore this. We'll take a couple breaths. And then we'll come out of it, we'll shake it out, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So bringing the weight into the opposite leg, and then starting with those calf raises. So raising up onto the toes, knees going forward, and then we open up to the side, knee out to the side, and that hip opening action. Doing that a few times, and then we have the option of bringing the heel and the sole of that opposite foot to this leg. Taking a breath. Maybe we want to try out the block. And maybe we want to explore lifting up that foot onto that opposite calf. Maybe thigh if it's within your practice, but that's not required. And again, option for where you want to have your hands. You choose where you want your hands. You choose where you want to look. Whenever you get there, we'll take a few breaths. And then we can let that go. We can shake it out. Ooh, I'm stuck. We can shake it out. Notice how your legs feel. Notice how did it feel on either side of the body. I invite you to grab a chair and maybe a pillow. Sorry, cold. I'm going to sit on the edge of the chair. And we have some options here again for a seated tree. So we'll practice tree seated as well. First thing I'm going to bring is this pillow onto my lap. So this doesn't have to be a yoga bolster. It could be a bed pillow, something, a couch cushion. We're going to bring one leg to touch the opposite leg. And then so we have one knee straight, one knee out to the side. And I'm sitting on the edge of the chair. That allows me to open up the hips a little bit. And then we have the option of taking this pillow on top of our palms, and we can raise it up towards the ceiling. This is going to allow us to sit nice and tall. Let me breathe, taking a couple breaths here. And then we lower it down. We bring that leg in. We can do the same thing on the other side. So bringing our weight into the opposite leg, bringing that knee out to the side. The sole of my foot is touching the opposite foot. Again, this is more effective when you're sitting on the edge. So you're not only leaning back in the chair, you're sitting up nice and tall. Bringing this onto both hands, raising it up above our heads, breathing here. Taking a few breaths, and then we can slowly lower it down. We can come into balancing across both of our feet. Maybe we want to have this by our bellies. We can bring our hands or our arms in front, leaning forward, maybe bring our chin down towards our chest. And taking a few breaths here to rest, reflect on our practice. How did balancing feel for you today? Did you enjoy this balance practice? Did one side feel different to balance on than the other? Just exploring all of those questions, and there's no right or wrong answer here. So thank you so much for this practice, and hopefully we practice again together soon.